Hey, so I recently watched Linkara Lewis Lovehog's recent review on Atop the Fourth Wall, which he's actually done 3 in a row this week. I'm assuming to catch up for lost time. But I watched it, and all I could say is this. To IDW, and mostly the person, I don't know who you are, but mostly to the person that wrote Transformers Deviations, I'm going to put it to you like this. F you. I'm not going to say the word, but F you. I mean, you do not. I mean, okay, look. I get, comic book writers, when they, get a chance to write for a comic book, that it's their opportunity to hopefully put in their stories. To see the stories that they wrote, fictional-wise, be brought to life officially. I mean, Ian Flynn kind of did this with Sonic Universe. He did it with his version of Dark Mobius, or whatever it was. Basically, his interpretation officially of Other M. His webcomic that he did, along with some people helping him out artistically and all that. He did it back. Basically, that's what it was. That's what, that story was. It was, a licensed, semi-official adaptation of his webcomic. And a lot of other writers have been known to do this too. But, when I see people do it, in this manner, I mean, I get you may not like how certain things happened. And I'm not against that. I'm not against you not being happy about certain things happening. I mean, there are certain moments in stories, iconic stories, movies, shows, that shouldn't have occurred, because it doesn't make sense. Or it's going to get the fan base upset with you. I totally get that. I mean, when Optimus Prime died, as kids, someone that grew up in the 80s, I wasn't happy. I mean, heck, I hid my head under my gray pillow. I do, that's something I'll never forget. I hid my head under my gray pillow because I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It's like, why are you killing off, someone that everybody looks to as a hero? Why do that? It didn't make sense. Now, later on, throughout the years, as we grew up and the internet became a thing, we kind of found out, exactly why they did it. It was mainly because of toy sales. It was a discontinuation of the original toys, the G1, of the first and second season toys of G1, and the introduction of the G1 season 3 and 4 toys. We get that now, we understand it, but it still doesn't make it still didn't make any sense to us. I mean, now we understand, why they brought him back, not once but twice. Once as a Zombot, and then twice, and then a second time, I should say, permanently, because it's like, hey, we admit we screwed up, we made a mistake. We didn't understand how big of an icon he was, which I can't get. How can you not see his popularity in the eyes of a lot of fans? I don't get that. I don't understand that. But, being older now, we kind of have a better understanding. We see exactly why they did it, even though we still don't agree with it. Just getting me some coffee there. Even though we still don't agree with it, we nowadays, as grown-ups, we understand it. But here's the thing, though. When we as fans get an opportunity to write our version of what we feel could have happened, or how it should have been done, sometimes we'll keep it true to what it was, maybe change and tweak things here and there. And of course, the ultimate question everybody's always asked is, what would have happened if Optimus didn't die? Well, there's been a lot of stories, fan fiction-wise, and all that have been webcomic-wise, even animation-wise, I think, that kind of tell that story. But here's the thing, though. They don't tell it in a way where basically they kill off the new cast of characters that the original movie was meant to introduce. They don't do that. They don't kill them off in a crash. Because yes, one of the things they do, is they follow certain scenes as if, nothing changed, except the only change is the characters involved. And, with them landing on the planet of junk, yeah, they crashed and everything. I mean, Ultra Magnus says in the movie, prepare for crash landing, or prepare for impact, and all that. But they survive. They get knocked out for a bit, but they survive. The writer of Deviations, he killed them. He straight up killed them. He had Hot Rod, because he placed Hot Rod in the ship with Ultra Magnus, because in the original movie, Hot Rod was with Cup in a separate ship, along with the Dinobots. But instead, it was Optimus with Cup instead. But the point I'm getting at here is mainly Ultra Magnus. In this interpretation, the writer has him launch Hot Rod and Daniel in an escape pod where everybody else crashes and burns on Junkion. It's like, what? What? Excuse me? Excuse me? You're gonna take the crash that they survived on, or that they survived, I should say, when landing on Junkion. You're gonna use it and say, oh, instead of them surviving, they're just gonna, fly and plow straight right into the planet and cause a crater and all die. That is, I think Linkara kind of said it best. That is probably the worst example. That is the worst example of somebody just using an official comic, an official book, licensed or not, to tell their fanfic. I mean, heck, the thumbnail that's used to his video, which is also the intro card, has him playing with which is drawn by Vega, his wife, has him holding up two Transformers with the speech bubble saying, so this is how it really happened. Basically echoing what this writer is saying, that this is what really happened to Transformers the movie. I don't count that, I count this. It's like, dude, Linkara, myself, and many others, we get how you feel. We get how you feel being a diehard fan and not liking what happened and having maybe a disdain for the Season 3, Season 4 cast. I get that. But you don't go out of your way and say, oh, I'm going to kill him off. I'm going to kill off Ultra Magnus. I'm going to kill off Blur. I'm going to kill off Perceptor. I'm going to kill off Springer. I'm going to kill off freaking RC. You don't do that. You keep them alive. At least some of them, if you want to, a few exceptions, if you want to, that's up to you. But don't kill off the entire cast because you hate them. I mean, yeah, he gave Hot Rod a heroic moment, not similar, but close to a facsimile similar to, close to a facsimile similar, I should say. And again, I'm watching the, just to let you guys know, if you're hearing anything in the background, I'm watching the 49er game right now. But anyway, yeah, he gave Hot Rod a heroic moment that's kind of a facsimile similar to the movies, but not definitely. And with that moment, he also kills off Hot Rod. And only at the end, when we see the spirit ghost of him and Alpha Trion in the sky, does he get acknowledged as Rodimus Prime. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I mean, again, like I said, you want to have, I mean, I get it. You want to basically, I get that you want to basically, and again, I do apologize. I'm watching the game. I do apologize. I'm kind of going back and forth here, but I get you want to do your own version of the movie, or at least your own interpretation and change things up. But you don't do it in a way where you kill off characters that, despite how you might feel about them, have become very popular, household names, in a sense. Just because you want to play with the scenario of what would happen if, Optimus Prime didn't die in the movie, and instead he survived. I get you want to play with that scenario, but you don't have to do it in a way where a lot of people, or a lot of the very popular characters die. That is just, in my opinion, pettiness. That is pettiness and someone that doesn't know when to let go of a grudge. That's just an example of somebody not knowing how to let go of a grudge. When you pretty much use something like this in an official capacity to say, yeah, here's how I really feel about these characters. They die. That's it. It just makes you as a fan look bad. I mean, again, I get it. Not everybody cares about what happened. I understand that. We all understand that. Believe me, we do. We all understand that. But you don't use something of this media to basically, as Linkara put it, as I mentioned earlier, to post your fanfic on officially. I mean, you're supposed to basically live up to what it says, of what the event says, the event series says. Deviation. You're supposed to live up to that title and deviate from the norm. And yeah, seeing what would happen if Optimus didn't die is a true deviation. But you don't take it as far as what you did. You don't do that. Instead, you try to keep it similar in some capacity to where if you have to kill off some characters, fine, but not in this manner. Not in a way that's pretty much showing the world you hate what happened. Because that just shows pettiness on your part and the fact that you don't know how to let go of a grudge. And look, a lot of us may have not cared about Optimus dying. A lot of us may have not cared about that moment because it was wrong in our opinion. But we've grown to understand why it happened. We've grown to accept the fact that it's one of the reasons the movie has become an iconic animated film, even if it's based on an animated show and a toy franchise. We've gotten to the point that we're willing to accept that. But we have gotten to that point to not only where we've been willing to accept that and understand that, but we've gotten to the point to where if somebody was to ask us to do a deviation-like story, a what-if scenario story, on if, Optimus didn't die, we wouldn't take it to this level. We wouldn't say, hey, we're going to kill off. We wouldn't take it to a point that we would kill off, the entire season 3, most of the season 3 cast because we hated them. Or kill off someone like Hot Rod because we hated the fact that he was chosen to be the new leader. We wouldn't have done that. We wouldn't have done that. Instead, we would have found a way to deviate, ask that question, show and ask that question of what if, but do it in a way that's more sensible, that's more acceptable, and doesn't have us come off as if we hate. We've always hated, we've always held a grudge against, this idea. At least it doesn't show us, acting that way. At least it shows us not, going, in that direction, if you will. Because what it does, like I said, is it makes you look bad for your pettiness, for not growing up and letting go of a situation. It shows your pettiness of not letting go of a situation. But it also makes your publisher, the people that are licensing your book, the franchise who publishes a book, it's making them look bad for allowing it. And look, a lot of deviation stories, a lot of deviation-like stories can be good. Do not get me wrong about that. A lot of the what-if scenarios can be good. And I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that. A lot of them can be good. But this is not a good example of it. Because anytime people would do deviations or what-ifs, yeah, they'll probably take out one character, take out one or two characters here and there, or a few characters here and there. But they wouldn't kill off the entire cast of characters because they didn't like them. That is outright stupidity, in my opinion. And I'm not a comic book writer. I'm a fan. I'm a fan that's grown up and accepted the fact that, yeah, I may have not cared about what happened in the movie, to Optimus. And I've always, too, wondered what would happen if he would have lived. But I'm not the kind of person that would write a story and say, okay, my main goal is to kill off the season 3 cast. That's stupid. That's dumb. And like I said, whoever the writer was, you needed, and hopefully you've had, because it's been 6 years, I think, since this event happened, you need to grow up. And hopefully you've had. You need to let go of this grudge and grow up and move on. Because, and like I said, maybe you have, because if you didn't, if you still hold a grudge about what happened, and you still want to find other ways to kind of screw over the season 3 cast, then again, that doesn't make you any better, and I hate to use this comparison, than a Chris Chan of the Sonic fandom, and what he's done. Or for a time before he changed his ways for the better, an RK. It doesn't make you look good if you're going to go that route, if you're going to do that stuff, But hopefully, maybe what this was for you when you wrote it was your therapy. Maybe it was your therapeutic moment. Maybe it was your therapeutic moment of, I got to get this out of my system, and I'll feel better. So maybe this helped. I don't know. But still, this is something that honestly should have never been made, in my opinion, as part of the Deviation series. I mean, again, if you're going to do it, don't do it as just a way of relieving your anger, or therapeutically relieving your anger because you're pissed at what happened in the movie. I mean, by the time you wrote this, that was 30 years ago at the time this was published. So, yeah. To me, look, again, like I said, I'm a fan of what if, deviation-like stories and everything. I get it. I'm fine with it. I get it. I'm fine with it and everything. I'm totally a fan. But there are some what-if scenarios. And again, I do apologize if I'm a little distracted. I'm watching the game. But the thing is, I'm not against any of, these kind of stories happening if they're done with respect. If it's done with respect to the original source material and not used, as Lankara Lewis Lovehawk put it, as a fan's way of basically, shelling the fanfic of, so this is what really happened. And honestly, that's exactly how Lankara describes it. Because his thumbnail, which is also his intro card, which is drawn by his wife Vega, shows a characteristic version of him holding 2 Transformers, looking at somebody and saying, so this is what really happened. And that's what this character is doing. I mean, not character, but this writer is doing. He's basically trying to say, so this is what really happened, in my opinion. And it's like, dude, fine. You want to show what would happen if Optimus lived? Great. But don't do it in this manner. Like I said, it doesn't make you look good. It doesn't make the publisher who's licensing the book look good. And in a sense, it doesn't make the fan base look good because people will that maybe not, understand why the fan base is still such a big deal, even with grown-ups like me and even you. It makes the fan base look good because it shows to them, oh, they can't let go of any grudges. Which we can. We can let go of grudges. There's no doubt. We can accept things. Like I mentioned in a previous video, yeah, we may have not liked the slap that occurred in Archie's Sonic, and we consider it probably the worst thing out of all Sonic comic books, Archie, IDW, and Fleetway and such, to be, number one as one of the worst things ever written and shown. But we've come to accept the fact that it happened. We've come to accept the fact that even the new writer that came on board, Ian Flynn, makes a joke out of it. And we're willing to accept the fact that in continuity, the rewriting of the world, the rebooting of the world, pretty much wiped it from existence. Even though physically we could go back and read it and see that it did happen, we can, move on with the fact it is, not acknowledged as canon anymore. We can do that. We can do that. So we're not angry. And heck, if we decide, we want to rewrite this moment, do a deviation of that moment, at least we would do it in a way that makes it more acceptable and more, basically we would do it in a way that's more acceptable by our fellow fans and doesn't make the characters come off like assholes. At least we'd be willing to do that. This year though, it is a fan's interpretation of basically saying, F you Hasbro, F you Season 3 cast, I don't accept what you did in the movie as canon, and this is how I'm going to show that it really happened. Again, it doesn't make you look good. It doesn't make you look good. It doesn't make the publisher look good. It doesn't make the fan base, and to those that are not, doesn't understand, that doesn't know much about the fan base at that time, it doesn't make them look good. But again, like I said, maybe this was something he needed to get out of the system, and thankfully he did. But let me know what your guys' thoughts were. Comment below, live chat during the premiere, like the video, comment if you like. Like I said, comment if you like. Super chats, super stickers are open during the premiere. Super thanks afterwards. Check me out at deviantart.com/BVW1979, at my Teespring store, at Venmo at Brian-Warmer-2, at Cash App at BWRoses98, at Patreon.com/BWRoses, $1, $3 tier. Also, check me out at BW Roses Discussions, all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. How do you feel about this? What were your thoughts overall? Again, I do apologize for a little bit of distraction here and everything. I'm watching the game. It's on right now, 49ers and Broncos. But let me know what your thoughts are. And until next time, I will talk to you later. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff that if you're going to do it, you need to do it with respect to the original source material. And that's a fact.